Coinbase SEC oral arguments, they are over. It is complete. Now we wait. We sit and wait for Judge Failla and her ruling. I'm going to start with this clip from today, the most notable, I would say. One of the most notable, Judge Failla, check it out.
Everyone else's description of it. The DeFi people, for example, have what I think is a really fine amicus brief explaining to me what the wallet really is and what staking really is. And that actually, in some respects, makes more sense to me than the commission's description of it in the complaint. You're suggesting to me.
That's pretty, and this was towards the beginning, the first half of the hearing. And Judge Failla giving props to the DeFi people, giving props to really the Coinbase team, giving more clarity and just direction in terms of what a wallet really is, what's going on here. And I think through this entire case, Coinbase has done an excellent job of doing that, proposing truly what crypto is, what's involved here. And I think Judge Failla has learned a lot in that regard, not to mention the due diligence that she has done on her own. She had so much knowledge in terms of the crypto space. There's no other judge I think we could have had on this case. Just the best judge in this regard. Now, the first half, Judge was kind of saying some things like this. There were some notable moments like this, but it's that second half. It wasn't all, positive in terms of Coinbase. I posted earlier, I said, I must admit, Judge Failla was critical of some of Coinbase's stances. And if I was rooting for the SEC, she made some comments I'd probably be celebrating. I want to say this. I think she made it a point to do this, because she knows that everyone is dissecting her every word. And I think that is a key thing here right now. So I want to talk about in this video, when will she rule and what's the general consensus in terms of across the crypto space, even from legal minds. So please hit the subscribe, hit the like, and let's jump into it. I think most importantly, we should just visit real quick Paul Graywall, the chief legal officer of Coinbase. Today, we made arguments in our motion to bounce the SEC suit. After hours and hours, this much remains clear. The SEC continues to claim broad authority over all investments while offering no limiting principle to its definition of investment contract. The SEC cannot unilaterally expand and redefine its own regulatory ambit. This should be left up to Congress and the ongoing legislative discussions about regulatory frameworks that are currently taking place. This was a huge point, especially towards the end, closing arguments type of area. This was a huge point that was kind of coming into play. Coinbase does not offer securities. We are confident in our legal arguments and look forward to a decision that will bring much needed clarity to the industry. We appreciate the opportunity to present our case, and we thank the court for its careful consideration. I'm going to read through. There was a bunch of threads. I wanted to read through a little bit of Jake Travinsky over here. It's not too long, so bear with me, but I think it is so important in terms of just bringing it all together, and then we're going to look at when might the ruling come out from Judge Failla. Today's Coinbase hearing revealed a key flaw in the SEC's legal theory, and this is it. Judge Failla was pretty fair to the SEC this time around. Didn't show as much skepticism as the pre-motion hearing, if you remember. However, I will say this. There's flaws in the SEC's legal theory, and Judge Failla is smart, and I think she already does grasp the flaws that are there. She wasn't showing that as much for purposeful reasons. That can't be true. The SEC was created to regulate markets for financial instruments, not digital goods or the technologies empowering them. Judge Failla seems to get this flaw quite well. Check out what she said. I am presented with the specter of collectibles being regulated by the SEC, she said. She's right. The SEC's theory would give it authority over sneakers, trading cards, watches, basically anything with a market price. That's a huge flaw, everybody, when trying to step into the crypto space and regulate in the way that they're doing. The SEC has clearly gone way off mission in its attempt to regulate crypto. That's a policy failure as much as a legal one, made worse by the SEC calling crypto a rounding error today. If so, the SEC's disproportionate focus on attacking this industry is unjustifiable. It is so true, and that's well said. Judge Failla noted other problems with the SEC's case too. Its poor understanding of the tech, calling out this amicus brief by DeFi Education Fund for explaining it better. Its attempt to usurp the role of Congress, calling out Senator Loomis' amicus brief, which she did, saying this is our job. This doesn't mean Coinbase will necessarily win its motion for judgment on the pleadings, but it does display the true emptiness of policymakers' claims that the law is clear and the industry just doesn't want to comply. It's a fight, but we have the high ground, and it is true. So here we go. Let's talk about what's going to happen and when. I'm not going to read through this thread. This is Meta Lawman, but I wanted to point something out. He said, I watched a judge carefully because he was there. She's either genuinely undecided about how to rule or she's a great actor. I tend to think she's a great actor. I'm telling you, I tend to think she was very purposeful in basically not showing what she's truly thinking. And that means not showing skepticism towards the SEC and maybe asking tougher questions. The one message I took away was she is uncomfortable with the idea of dismissing the case on the basis of the major questions doctrine. And that is true. That's a huge takeaway. I think this happened towards the end of the hearing. And here's his guess. This is Meta Lawman. My guess, just a guess, she's going to allow the case to go forward to discovery like the Ripple case. And if you remember the other day, we talked about this option. This means if this were to happen, if it goes to discovery, this means the judge is denying the Coinbase motion. And that means the case moves on to discovery for a year or more until motions for summary judgments, like in Ripple. And this is Meta Lawman. It's just his opinion. He said, but I continue to believe, as noted in my pinned tweet, that Coinbase will ultimately win the case in the end. Congress, of course, could put a stop to the whole thing with adoption of comprehensive crypto legislation, but that won't happen this year. So that's a big deal, the fact that he's saying that he thinks it's going to go to discovery. This could be the type of thing that plays out. I'm not going to sit here and do a video saying Coinbase has it. That was a KO. And they're absolutely just they're going to win. And motion to dismiss will be granted by judge because it's up in the air, everybody. It really is. Meta Lawman, he's very on point in tracking these things. It doesn't mean he's definitely going to be right in his guess. It is just a guess. But I think it's a really big deal in terms of what his guess is. So at the end of the hearing today, Judge Failla basically was saying, and I think she knew everybody would love if she would have just made her ruling. And she said, I'm not gonna make the ruling from the bench today, right? Here's the general consensus on when. This is Eleanor over here on X speaking with lawyers who have experience with timelines like this. They say it should take anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks for her to make a decision. And Meta Lawman, by the way, in the other thread from the other day, I believe he said it could take a few months. I think what he said here. So we're looking at, it looks like probably around a month, right? Maybe a couple weeks, maybe a month and a half, but that's what it's looking at. Maybe 1 to 2 months is probably what we're looking at right here, unless Judge Failla does something incredible and just goes right to it in the very short term. But that's what we're looking at, everybody. This is monumental. I'm going to be sitting at the edge of my seat waiting. I'm not going to continue doing any more updates because there's really nothing more to update. We've tracked it pretty well, I would say. But now it's up to Judge Failla. And I truly think she recognizes the fact that the law is not on the SEC side. It's just not. They're way out of bounds in terms of what they are doing, and what they are saying just doesn't even line up and add up when you start digging into it. She mentioned today she's going to be reading through. I think she said she'll read through the transcript of today. She's really going to sit on this and think about this. And I think as she does that, she's going to realize Coinbase legal team, they've made amazing points on the side of the law. SEC, they're just kind of blindly throwing darts, attacking an entire crypto industry. So we'll see how she rules. But I will say this, I'm glad that that's over. And now we sit back, we wait, and we will see what happens next. Let me know your thoughts, everybody, in the comments below. If you're not a subscriber, please make sure to subscribe. Hit the notifications, hit that like button. Your support means a ton. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.